I must have missed something back in 16. I know that some schools approached the Big 12, and the Big 12 said, hey, we want to listen to some people, and that the various schools had a chance to go to the table and or whatever, how that worked out. But I read this line in the article from Max Olson today, and Max is going to join us tomorrow from theathletic.com. There still seems to be serious reluctance about engaging with Houston, which dates back to the conference's unpleasant experience with Houston board chairman Tilman Fertitta in 2016. We had him on. We know he's a very powerful, rich man. What happened?
I think he basically was telling them what to do, and I think they said, well, you can't just tell us what to do. And I don't think the problem with Tilman Fertitta is he's a very big, powerful businessman. He's like Texas all-in-one guy. I mean, watch Tilman Fertitta do what he does. I mean, he kind of unilaterally moves and does things, and that's good because he can. But, again, I think they would have felt a little bit like, well, why is Houston all of a sudden telling us what to do because of this one dude?
And they're not even in yet.
I think it might have been some of that, Paul, but I think it was mostly the fact that they went through that whole process and then didn't get an invite.
Yeah.
That for sure was one aspect of Fertitta being pissed at the Big 12 was – he basically felt like they put him through a dog and pony show. Because
which they did.
They did. And so he's just the one that's been vocal because who's he have to answer to? Nobody. Mm-hmm. He don't have to answer. He don't have to be scared of anybody. He's got more money than God. So he's fine in that regard. He don't have to tremble like an AD or a president or somebody like that. He can kind of, speak his mind. So, yeah, I think he was just more upset by the fact that the Big 12 threw this carrot out there or dangled this carrot out there, and they had no intention of really anybody grabbing it. They just kept pulling it away every time Houston felt like they actually had an opportunity to join the conference. And you know what? I'd be rightfully pissed too. He's got every reason to be upset about that. But, I do think he's a personality that's not exactly in line with a lot of college athletics officials as well. So I could see where that would maybe rub some people the wrong way. But yeah, to me, Houston – I still always go back to, and I'm not like opposed to them joining the Big 12 or anything. I just look at it from the standpoint of Texas Tech and TCU and Baylor. Now, look, if Houston is the key to you remaining together and remaining the Big 12, then bring on Houston. But if you can do it without Houston, I try and do it without Houston. And I don't mean any disrespect to U of H, but from those three schools' vantage points in particular, I am not trying to bring another member to the party in the state of Texas. You know what I mean? Like, you're elevating them to your level. They're in a bigger city than all of you by a long shot. I think the last thing you really want is a strong and confident and suddenly stronger than ever University of Houston, because you're just setting them up to probably surpass you, quite honestly, potentially. Maybe not. We know that Baylor and TCU and Tech aren't just going to fold over, but they are now on your level, whereas they have never really been since the Southwest Conference. And do you want to just, we talk about dividing pies and doing all that. Like I said, if they bring value, bring them on. I have no bones to pick with that. But if I'm these administrators at other schools in Texas, they would not be my first choice.
They'd be the one I would be scared about, yeah.
From Eric, Tilman Fertitta is the UT of board chairs. He can pretty much do whatever the hell he wants.
Really, he doesn't care. He's got words to say. He's going to say them, and find me? Okay, fine. Here, pull $1 billion out of my shoe. So, yeah, that guy is built a little bit different than most in college athletics, like I said. And yeah, he's gonna say what he means and means what he says. And, the more this goes on now, hey, I'm sure we'll hear from him very soon if we haven't already. I don't know, but I'm sure he will be quite vocal when the time comes if Houston does have that carrot dangled in front of them once again. And based on the autonomy status and not knowing, nobody knows when that ends or how that ends or whatever, I think they're, I'm sure I could dig into it more, but just off the top of my head, I don't know. You're in a good spot if you're the Big 12 and as far as having that label. Now, if that label was to disappear, then all bets are off and you're probably folding into the AAC. But for right now, yeah, they are still kind of attractive in a way.
All right, that's the segment. Thanks to Adam Rittenberg. We'll have Jeff Traylor at 5 from UT San Antonio.
For example,
we have two NFL writers in the 5 o'clock hour, John Machota and John McClain.
If you're Baylor and Houston and Tech, I'd much rather have UCF and Cincinnati and who are some BYU,
Young, Boise State,
and Boise
Memphis.
State. Okay, cool. Or Memphis too, or a combination of those four. I'd rather have a combination of those four than start having to really recruit more with Houston and feed that animal and all of a sudden their fan base is like, oh, we're up in the big level. You know what I mean? And so that's what I would prefer if I was those schools, like I said. But you know what? You got to take what you can get, too.
They got one Ed Oliver. If you put them up in the Power 5 level, they're going to
Get a bunch of
more.
Olivers.
So,
yeah, exactly right.